The purpose of this video is to show you how to use Excel to make an amortization schedule. So I've already entered my heading information and my labels for cells A5 through A8, and I am ready for the second part of step 5, which says to change the column width of column A to 18. So I'm going to right click on column A, go down to column width, and type in 18 in that box and hit enter. So now step 6 wants us to enter the information from number 20 of our textbook in cells B5 through B8. So using number 20, the principal is $128,100. The monthly payment we find to be $1,097.03. The interest rate is 9.25% or 0.0925, and the time in years is 25. And then I'm just going to change the format of these first two numbers so that they look like monetary values. I'm going to format cells and change them to currency with 2 decimal places. And then also this interest rate, sometimes when you type that one in there, some of the decimal places get chopped off if it's too long. So if that happened to you when you typed it in there, you want to right click, go to Format Cells, click on Number, and just make sure that you have at least 4 decimal places displayed. That way you'll see the entire interest rate. So then step 7 says now we want to name those values so we can refer to them in formulas later on. So we're going to click in cell B5, click on the Formulas menu at the top of the page, and then click where it says Define Name. And we're going to call this one Principal, which is probably already filled in for you since that's what you have typed in the cell beside it in A5. So we just need to click OK. And then the monthly payment, cell B6, we're going to name this one, I'm just going to shorten it down to Payment. And then the interest rate in cell B7, I'm going to name this one Interest. And then cell B8, I'm going to name this one Time. Alright, so now we're ready for step 9, which says in cells A10 through E10, we're going to type the following headings. So we're going to have month, payment, interest, applied to principal, and balance. And then step 10 tells us to change the column width of cells B through E. So I'm going to highlight B through E, right click, and go down to column width and type in 18 in that box. Now step 11, we want to quickly produce a list of numbers, just 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on, without having to actually type each of those numbers in individually. So the way we're going to do that, we're going to start out in cell A11, and we're going to type in the formula equals row parentheses A1 and hit enter. And what that should do is put a 1 in cell A11 for you. And then we're going to right click on cell A11 and copy it. And then we're going to highlight from cell A12, so click and drag all the way down to cell A310. So then I'm going to right click on the highlight and paste the formula. And that should give me all of the numbers 1 through 300, ending up with 300 in cell A310. And the reason why we went to 300 for this particular problem is because we have the time for this loan is 25 years, so we're making 25 times 12 or 300 monthly payments. So now step 12 says to go back to cell B11 and type in the formula equals payment. And then we're going to copy and paste that formula all the way down to cell B310. So right click on B11, click copy, and then click in B12, click and drag all the way down to where we were at in column A. And then right click and paste formula. And that's going to paste our monthly payment of $1,097.03 in all of those cells. But the purpose of doing it the way that we did it, we named this cell as payment, and then we inserted that number into all of these cells using the formula equals payment. So the reason we did it that way is because now if we want to do a different problem with a different monthly payment, all we need to do is change the value in this box, and it will automatically update all of the values in column B. So we only have to change our monthly payment in one location. So now step 13 says to click in cell C11, and we're going to enter the formula equals B5 times interest times 1/12. So that will calculate the interest for the first month based on this monthly payment and this interest rate. And then in cell D11, we're going to enter the formula equals payment minus C11. So this will calculate how much is left of our monthly payment to apply to the principal, given this interest for the month. And then in E11, we're going to use the formula equals principal minus D11. So this will calculate our new principal on the loan, given that this amount was applied to the principal for this month. So now, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to just copy and paste these formulas all the way down for all three of these columns. These two are going to be a little bit different because we want to make sure that we're calculating the new interest based on this remaining balance rather than our original balance. So slightly different formula for cell C12, which is given to us in step 16. We want to use equals E11 times interest times 1/12. And then this formula we can copy and paste. So we're going to copy cell C12 and then click and drag all the way down column C to 310 and then paste this formula. And there's going to be a bunch of zeros to begin with, but that's okay. Once we get these other two columns filled in the way they're supposed to be, column C will automatically correct itself. So now step 17, the formula that is in D11 can be copied and pasted all the way down. So we're just going to copy that and then click from D12 and drag all the way down to D310 and right click, paste formula. And then for E12, we're going to use the formula, this is in step 18, equals E11 minus D12, and hit enter. And then I'm going to copy E12 and paste that formula the rest of the way down column E. And now you can see that all of the values in column C and D have corrected themselves. So the only other thing that we want to do here is change the number of decimal places. I'm going to highlight C through E at the top, right click, format cells, click on number, and make sure that 2 decimal places is selected. So now they all look like monetary values. So now what we're looking at here at this amortization schedule is it shows us for each monthly payment how much of that payment is going to interest and how much of that payment is applied to the principal. So as we go down through the monthly payments, we're going to start to see the amount of interest that has to be paid get smaller and smaller, and the amount left over that gets applied to the principal get bigger and bigger. And that's going to gradually reduce our outstanding principal until we get down to a balance of approximately 0 at the end of the 300 months. Now notice we didn't end up with exactly 0 here, but that's just because we're rounding numbers as we go. Even our monthly payment was a rounded value to begin with, so that's going to throw things off from coming out to be exactly 0 at the end. But what that means is just on your last monthly payment, they would charge you $5.68 less when you make that last payment on your loan. But these are the steps for constructing an amortization schedule using Excel.